Let's start with sitting up straight. Hands on your knees, back straight. Relax your shoulders, close your eyes. And start to inhale and exhale. Long inhalations and long exhalations. Gently bring your hands together, start rubbing them together and place them on your closed eyelids. Rub your hands across your face and with a few blinks, open your eyes. Let's start with neck rotations. You're going to inhale as your head goes back and exhale as it comes forward. Mrs. Rishi, your camera is not on. Alright. Now let's go in the other direction. Inhale as your head goes back and exhale as it comes forward. Now inhale, look up. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. And exhale, look down. Once again, inhale, look up. Exhale, look down. And then come to the center and start looking from side to side. And once again, come to the center and ear to shoulder. Good. And stop the practice. Now, interlock your fingers together, extend your arms up and slightly back. And then you're going to release your arms, right hand on left knee and twist back. Open the chest, roll your shoulders back. And then come back to the center. Once again, you're going to interlock your fingers together, extend your arms up and slightly back. And then release your arms, left hand on the right knee and twist back. And come back. Good. Now place your hands flat on the floor in front of you. Walk your hands forward and place the forehead, nose or chin on the floor. Come as close to the floor as you can. Good. Slowly walk your hands back. Now place both hands on either side of the right knee and then walk forward. Then slowly walk your hands back. And both hands on either side of the left and walk forward. And slowly walk back. Now place your hand flat on the floor next to you. Reach out with the other hand and look up at the ceiling. Really try and stretch the sides. Good. And then come back. Same thing on the other side. Extend your arm out and look up at the ceiling. Good. And come back. Now bring your legs into your Bhajanasana. Place your hands on the floor and walk your hands forward, slightly, gently. Good. And then slowly walk your hands back and then straighten both legs and gently touch the toes. And if you're unable to reach all the way to the toes, you can even hold the shins or your ankles anywhere. And then come back and then widen the legs for Trikonasana. And you're going to again try and touch the toes. Good. And come up. Now come on all fours. Hands and knees on the floor. And let's start with the tiger breathing. So you're going to inhale, push your belly button to the floor, look up. Exhale, push your chin into your chest, curve the back, pull the tailbone in. Inhale, look up. Exhale, push your chin into your chest, curve your back, pull the tailbone in. Once again, inhale, look up. And exhale, push your chin into your chest, curve your back, pull the tailbone in. Come back to your base position, start your wrist stretches. Good. Now stop with both hands facing you. Start to rock back and forth and side to side. Good. Now stop the practice. Bring your hands back to their original positions. Place your toes on the floor. Lift your knees up off of the floor. Push your tailbone up. Keep your heels lifted. Press the hands down, especially the mounds of the thumb. Press those down. Try to lengthen the back. Try to lengthen the sides. Yeah, and stay there. Try and straighten the legs also. Gently try and straighten the legs. Good. Now step forward, Uttanasana. Here also press the fingertips down into the floor. Roll the thighs in. Widen the back of the knees. And again, let's go back into the downward dog. Keep your legs about hip width distance apart. Roll the thighs in. Push the tailbone back. Once again, step forward, Uttanasana. Press the fingertips down. If your fingers don't touch the floor, only then bend your knees. Good. And once again, step back into your downward dog. Lift your heels up. Yes, and now straighten your legs, straighten the knees, and then try and push your heels down to the floor again. Good. Step forward, Uttanasana. And then slowly, vertebra by vertebra, roll yourself up into any comfortable seated meditative asana. Good. Alright, let's start with the Surya Namaskars. Hands in the Namaskar Mudra. And let's begin. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. Exhale, bend forward. Right leg back, left leg back, knees, chest, chin down. Bhajanasana, Parvatasana. Right leg forward, left leg forward. Inhale all the way up and back. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. Exhale, bend forward, left leg back, right leg back, knees, chest, chin down. Bhajanasana, Parvatasana. Left leg forward, right leg forward. Inhale all the way up and back. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. Exhale, bend forward, right leg back, left leg back, knees, chest, chin down. Bhajanasana, Parvatasana. Right leg forward, left leg forward. Inhale all the way up and back. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. Exhale, bend forward, left leg back, right leg back, knees, chest, chin down. Bhajanasana, Parvatasana. Left leg forward, right leg forward. Inhale all the way up and back. Let's continue. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. Exhale, bend forward, right leg back, left leg back, knees, chest, chin down. Bhajanasana, Parvatasana. Right leg forward, left leg forward. Inhale all the way up and back. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. Exhale, bend forward, left leg back, right leg back, knees, chest, chin down. Bhajanasana, Parvatasana. Left leg forward, right leg forward. Inhale all the way up and back. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. Exhale, bend forward, right leg back, left leg back, knees, chest, chin down. Bhajanasana, Parvatasana. Right leg forward, left leg forward. Inhale all the way up and back. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. Exhale, bend forward, left leg back, right leg back, knees, chest, chin down. Bhajanasana, Parvatasana. Left leg forward, right leg forward. Inhale all the way up and back. Last one. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. Exhale, bend forward, right leg back, left leg back, knees, chest, chin down. Bhajanasana, Parvatasana. Right leg forward, left leg forward. Inhale all the way up and back. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. Exhale, bend forward, left leg back, right leg back, knees, chest, chin down. Bhajanasana, Parvatasana. Left leg forward, right leg forward. Inhale all the way up and back. Good. Go into your child's pose. Rest. today we're going to focus on the menstruation cycle. Okay, so who experiences PMS? I just want like a show of hands. How many of you have PMS? Okay, and when you're menstruating, like feeling bloated, backache. Okay, all right, yeah. So all of these. So everybody thinks that okay, when you're menstruating, you should not be practicing yoga. Okay. And if you have very, very heavy cycles, then yes, you should be resting. You should allow your body to sort of take a break during that time. However, if you're a long-time yoga practitioner and if you're a regular yoga practitioner, even when you have heavy periods, you can still do a little bit of yoga, and that actually alleviates a lot of the discomfort and the pain. Okay? And if you have like abnormally heavy or abnormally scanty menstruation cycles, then practicing yoga actually helps. You know, it actually helps in regulating not only the flow but also like the how regular it is. So you know, like infrequent or too frequent, all of that. Yoga actually helps, and it's been proven to help. And so today I want to look at a few asanas that you can do when you're menstruating. All up to, you know, to the cycle when you start menstruating and even while you're menstruating. Okay, so the way, and there's so many asanas, there's not just like a few asanas, there's so many asanas that you can do. The one thing to remember is that you should not do any inversions. You should not try to do handstands, headstands, anything which is an inversion you shouldn't do. Okay, otherwise, and anything which is a twist you should not do. Okay, otherwise all of the asanas are actually, you should do those. Okay, so what we'll do today is we'll go through the sequence. You can do Surya Namaskars also when you're menstruating. Okay, so now we're just going to go through the sequence. We're going to look at standing asanas, seated asanas, which you can do and which really help. Okay, and also while you're menstruating, it is also good to use a lot of props because it just helps you to hold the postures for a longer time. It reduces the discomfort as well. So if you have your props with you, try to use as many of them as you have. But if you don't have any props, that's also fine. Okay? Alright, so let's start then. We always start with downward dog and Uttanasana. Okay? Both of these are okay to do when you're menstruating. The only thing is, downward dog, you shouldn't hold it for too long. Okay, so you know, like let's say 30 seconds in downward dog and then a longer Uttanasana. These are good for you. Okay, so let's start. If you have a block, go ahead and get a block. If you don't have a block, that's also fine. If you have a block, you're going to take the block between the thighs and go into your downward dog. And if you don't have, you just keep your feet together. Actually, keep your feet apart. Okay, those who don't have a block, keep your feet apart in downward dog. Those who do have a block, go ahead and use that block between the thighs and go into the downward dog. Keep your heels lifted and try to lengthen the back. Press the hands down, and remember, you only hold this for 30 seconds. And keep breathing. Relax your abdomen. Now remove the block and step into your Uttanasana, legs wide apart. If you have back pain, legs wide apart is a great way to practice Uttanasana and downward dog when you're menstruating. So keep the legs, also you want to widen the hamstrings. So if you're unable to reach the floor, use your blocks, because the important thing to focus on for these postures is how much can you widen your hips, how much can you relax the hamstrings so that the back relaxes. Relax your abdominal muscles also. Again, go back into your downward dog. This time everybody keep your legs wide apart. Wide apart can be distance of the mat or your hip width distance, whichever one makes you feel much better. And then step forward, Uttanasana. Again, legs wide apart. Press the hands down, relax your abdomen. Good. And let's get up. Great. Okay, now if you have a block, go ahead and take the block. We're going to do Trikonasana. And And that's another great pose, especially if you have back pain when you're menstruating. Trikonasana is amazing. Okay, so for Trikonasana, take your legs wide apart. The wider, the better. Yeah, okay. Now, turn the right foot out. Make sure the heel of the right foot is in line with the center of the left. Inhale, take both hands up. Exhale, take your hands out to the sides. Okay. Now, you're going to extend to the right. Place your hand either anywhere on the leg or rest it on a block. Place the other hand on the waist. Yeah. So again, placing that hand on the waist reduces the intensity, and you want to focus more on the alignment of the body rather than on how intense the posture is. Push the back foot into the floor. Focus on the lateral bend here, so you're bending to the side. So you need to roll the right thigh inwards and keep lengthening the upper body. Get another hand on the waist. Place your left hand on the waist, like this. Yeah, don't lift it. Right. Okay, good. Come up. And the same thing on the other side. Right leg in, left leg out. Is anyone menstruating right now? Raise your hand. All right. Okay. Hands up. Hands out to the sides. Again, you're going to reach out. Place your hand anywhere on that leg or on a block. Other hand on the waist. Right hand on the waist. Again, if you have back pain and stiffness and tightness of the lower back, you'll find that the more you tighten the right thigh, the more you'll be able to stretch. So it's not just tightening, but it's more of like engaging the right thigh. Keep opening the chest. Relax the neck. Relax the abdominal muscles. Relax the groin. Good. Come up, hands down. Okay. Now, the next posture is usually, when you're doing Trikonasana, we do Parivrita Trikonasana. But when you're menstruating, you don't do twists. Okay, so you will not do Parivrita, the twisted revolved triangle, you will not do that because it just puts too much strain on the abdominal muscles. We're not trying to do that. Okay. In your midsection, you don't want to do much. See, Trikonasana, it remains straight, flat. Okay. The moment you revolve it, there's just too much emphasis or too much stress that you apply here on your midsection. So you don't want to do that. Okay. Next is the warrior postures. Okay, standing postures are amazing, especially if you feel sluggish and slow. When you're menstruating, standing postures are great, like you should do them. Okay. Alright, so the next one is warrior 2. Okay. Extend the legs wide apart for warrior 2. Yeah, this time you don't need any props. Legs are wide, wider than Trikonasana usually. Hands on your waist. Make sure that your hips are forward. You're not pushing your hips back. Your hips are expressed fully, which means that you are pushing the hips forward. You're not sinking back. Okay. Now, turn the right foot out. Inhale, take your hands up. Exhale, take your hands out to the sides. Now, bend the right leg and sink down. Yes. Keep pushing your hips forward. When you're menstruating, you will feel the difference. Okay? Mrs. Rishi, you're leaning, your upper body is leaning to the side. Yes. Push from the right groin. Push the right groin to the right knee and sink down. Look straight ahead. Do not look at the right fingertips. You can look straight ahead. Good. Straighten up. Hands down. Now switch legs. Go to the other side. Hands up. Hands out to the sides. Bend the left leg. Sink down. Sink down. Yes. Okay. So Ms. Rishi, this side is much better. I suppose it's because of the pain on the right knee that, yeah. Okay. Simi, straighten the back leg. Focus on the back leg. Yeah, you have to straighten it. Do not compromise the position of the back leg in order to go further down with the front leg. So here, left leg, it goes down, but the right thigh also must be engaged because you're trying to open the hip. Good. Come up, hands down. How long should you hold this when you're menstruating? Especially if you have a heavy menstrual cycle, not for very long, 30 seconds or something like that, not very long. You're not focusing on strengthening your body during that time, you're focusing on how much can I open up, okay? Now, when your body is more open, when the muscles are more relaxed, the flow is also smoother, okay? So there are less cramps. Okay, so you have to focus on that. The more you tighten the body and try to strengthen it during that time, like how long can I hold Trikonasana, how long can I hold warrior posture, the more the body cramps up, like the more it tightens up, and you don't want that. Which is why also you should use props when you do that. So even for warrior postures, you could use a prop. You can do this against a chair, using a chair also. Okay, so this is warrior 2. Now warrior 1. Which is again really nice for you because it opens up the thighs and it squares the hips. Okay? So turn to the right. Take the legs wide apart. Turn the right foot out, left foot in. Look straight ahead. Yeah. Inhale, because you're menstruating, do not take your hands up. You are going to take your hands on the waist. Okay? Lifting your arms up increases the intensity of the posture. Although it just does it a little bit, but still you want to avoid it if you can. You know, if you are feeling very tired when you're menstruating, you don't want to increase the intensity of the postures. So now press the right foot down into the floor, bend the right leg and sink down. You can push the elbows back. It'll help you in lifting your chest up. So a lot of people get upper back pain also when they're menstruating. So this is a great way to open the chest, sink the hips down, pull your left hip forward. Kiran, face me, face the camera. You're doing warrior 2. Warrior 1, you have to turn, yes, like that. Good. Now everyone come up, turn to the other side. This is also a great posture because it balances the hip. Okay, now bend your left leg and sink down. Now a lot of people feel heavy on the legs. Sometimes your legs might feel like they're hurting also when you're menstruating. So this helps in aligning the hip and equalizing the hip joint. So as a result, there's less pressure on your knees, on your ankles, and that really helps. Good. And come up, and then come in, walk in. Okay, so we did warrior 1 and warrior 2. Now warrior 3 is never done. Okay, in warrior 3, you lift the leg up and it is more intense than all the other poses. You're lifting the back leg up and you're trying to balance. Balancing in itself is taxing for the body. So this posture is never done when you're menstruating. Okay, if you do warrior 3 properly, you'll be engaging your core also. Again, something you don't want to do when you menstruate. Alright? If you have questions, can you raise your hands, or everything is making sense so far? Okay, is that for everything is making sense? Hands up? Okay.
Pragya, is it okay to do even if you have thigh aches during menstruating?
Yes, yes. You should be doing this, especially like we did, downward dog, you did Uttanasana. All of that is really good for while you menstruate.
Is there a reason why we did warrior 2 before warrior 1?
That's the sequence. Because and it has never been written down why, but I think it's because when you do these other postures, like you bend the hip sideways, then you open the hip, then the hip is ready to be squared. So you work a little bit on the flexibility and then you work on the more difficult thing, which is squaring of the hip. Lateral bending is easier. You open the hip, because if you do this immediately, this can be very taxing for the lower back also. So that's what I think. But this is a sequence that's just come down. Yeah. Okay. So then you do not do warrior 3. Okay. There is also another, there's a Parshavkonasana, which we're going to do now. And then there's a revolved version of the Parshavkonasana, which again you don't do. So any revolved thing, any twists, you just don't do. Okay? Alright. With a few exceptions, which we'll come to. Okay. Now, Parshavkonasana, which is again very good for thigh aches, back aches, upper back aches when you're menstruating. So, turn the right foot out. Simi, legs wider. Yeah. Tejasvi, you have to keep the hips squared. Yeah, so the chest also goes forward. Now inhale, take your hands up. Exhale, take your hands out to the sides. Come into your warrior 2 first. This is the warrior 2. And try to, and you will see that if you expand more, the posture will feel better to you. Now take your right hand on the floor behind the right leg and extend the other hand out to the side. In this posture, you'll be able to open the hips up more, extend the left hand out a lot more. Yes, and those of you who want, you can use a block under the leg, under the hand, that's also fine. Relax your abdomen. Nidhi, tighten the back leg. Don't hang the head down, keep the head active. Yes. Now come back up, hands down, right leg in, left leg out. Inhale, take your hands up. Exhale, take your hands out to the sides. Now bend the left leg for warrior 2 and then come into your Parshvakonasana. So you take the right hand up, keep pushing the hip forward. Yeah, focus on opening the hip, the groin. Good. And come up, hands down. Now there's another posture, Paduttanasana, which can also be considered an inversion. It has inversion-like qualities. But again, you can hold it for 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And we're going to do it now. So you're going to take the legs wide apart. Again, like Trikonasana, a little bit more than Trikonasana. Bend your upper body forward from the waist. Place your hands on the floor. And keep looking straight ahead. Yes, so when you look straight ahead, you'll see that your upper body is parallel to the floor. This is safe to do when you're menstruating. However, if you were to go further down, trying to get the forehead on the floor, this might become a little more taxing for you when you're menstruating. But otherwise, for a lot of you, it might feel very relaxing for the lower back, so you could try that also. Again, this could be how you feel, how you feel is best for your body. And come up. And Nidhi, see here your legs are too wide. You're going to try to bring the legs so that stability of the posture is not compromised. Okay, there comes a point when, you can keep extending the legs wide, but there will be a point where you lose stability also. So you have to keep a very stable body. Okay, now Parshva Uttanasana, okay, which is basically Uttanasana with one leg back. That is also again really good because that also balances the hip joint. Similar to how warrior 1 balances the hip. Okay, if this is not warrior 1, I have to close the hip. Similarly, in Parshva Uttanasana, you balance the hips. So just watch the Parshva Uttanasana once. You take the legs wide apart, turn the right foot out, left foot in. You're looking straight ahead like we did in warrior 1. Okay, then you can place your hands on the waist. Come forward and place your fingertips either on the floor or on blocks. Use as many blocks as you want. You could even have a chair and place your hands on the chair. The idea is to push the right hip back, left hip forward, close the hip, and then see if you can extend the upper body. Okay, and you have to do it so that you feel comfortable in it. It's not about the stretch. Okay, especially if you have any aches and pains anywhere, sometimes even the calves hurt. You're working with that ache, with those aches and pains, right? You're not working with how your body would function normally. So you look at that when you're menstruating. When you're menstruating, the practice has to be very sattvic in nature. Like it cannot harm you, it has to support you. Alright? Okay. Extend the legs wide apart. We're going to do Parshva Uttanasana now. Legs wide. Turn the right foot out, left foot in. Square your hips. Easiest way to square the hips is to bring the left hip forward. Yeah. Yes, and your hands are a good way to guide that. Good. Now, start to bend forward from the waist and see if you can place your fingertips on the floor. Otherwise, you can even use anything else, anything to support. Kiran, turn the right foot out and turn to the right side. Turn, like we did in Warrior 1. Yes, turn like that. And then, yes, place the hands on the floor. Good. Yeah. Cindy, can you turn the back foot in a little bit more? The left foot just slightly, like 15 degrees in. Yeah. Good, Nidhi. Very nice. Good. Come up. Come up. And now we'll do the same thing on the other side. So turn to your left side. Yeah. Square the hip. Yes. And then come forward. Bend forward. Again, with squaring the hip, it has to be done with a little bit of intelligence. Okay? Because the squaring of the hip depends on how flexible you are. So if while you're menstruating, you're focusing on squaring it like a lot more and trying to stretch the body beyond its capacity, then again you're not helping the body, you are just stressing the body. And hence your body gets more stressed and it doesn't help the regularity of the menstrual cycle or the ease of the menstrual cycle. Good. Come up and hands down. Good. Good. Shake the legs out. Okay. So now there are also other postures where you lift your legs up. Okay. So in Warrior 3, legs lift up, one leg lifts up. That's too stressful for the body. Now, Ardha Chandrasana is another posture that you do not do because the leg lifts up. Again, it's stressful for the abdominal muscles, for the legs, which are anyways sometimes feel very heavy, so you don't do that. Okay? A lot of you might feel like it's called tremors of the legs. Like in certain books, it's written the body trembles a little bit. You can call it weakness or whatever. There's a slight trembling of the body. That's when you know that you've just stressed yourself too much. Okay, so the idea is just to do a little bit of postures to support the practice, to support the body. But if you do too much, your body, if you are a little tuned into the body, you'll start to feel that you've done something wrong. And this is my personal experience. Like, I've been practicing for a long time, and I know that this thing called tremors, Geeta Iyengar has called it tremors of the body. It happens. Okay, so that is one thing. Also, there's so many ways of doing these asanas. Okay, this is just one way of doing it, but there's so many more ways of doing the same asanas for menstruation, and I could take like a class of one asana to show you the many ways of doing it when you're menstruating, but you have to be like creative with it, depending on how you feel and what you feel. So, Ardha Chandrasana you never do. Also, these postures, where you lift the leg up, these also you never do. You don't even do it on a chair. You do not lift the legs up. Okay, it's just too taxing for the body. Alright, one more thing you don't do is your Chaturanga Dandasana, again, because that is working on strength. Okay, so now, these are a few standing asanas that you do. Now let's sit down, and that's when the practice becomes really nice and really therapeutic. Okay, when you sit down, when you do seated asanas, it helps you rejuvenate. Like, these are the postures that really work. So if you have a pillow or a bolster, go ahead and get those. Oh, and if you have a belt also, go ahead and get a belt. You can skip the standing postures, don't skip the seated postures. These really make you feel good. So the first posture, Nidhi, you mentioned like a pain in the thighs or an ache in the thighs and in the calf, like in the legs. So a great posture for that is Veerasana. Okay, but now how do you do the Veerasana? So let's say when I do the Veerasana regularly, I can go on the floor. Okay, let's say in like a regular day. So when I'm menstruating, I will make it more comfortable for myself. I might take many blankets under the leg. I will take as much height under my hips as I need, so that your body is in that same posture, like the legs are bending, so you get that massage of the muscles, but you're not taxing the knees, you're not taxing the ankles. Okay? So this, again, if you feel tired, during your menstrual cycle, this is a posture to go to. Okay? So let's go ahead and try this. If you want, if you have knee pain right now, then don't do it, but go ahead and try your Veerasana. When you stress the body, when you practice yoga in such a way that you are constantly pushing, constantly stressing, it's a very Rajasic way of practice. Okay? okay, that's what we call it, that you are practicing with the intent to hurt. But when you do it with a little bit of intellect and a little bit of awareness that this is my body, these are my limitations, this is the time of the month, or a time in my life where I cannot do this, then then you're practicing in a very sattvic way with a lot of compassion for your body. And also you only have one body, so you better be nice to it. Otherwise, you will hear from it as time goes on. All right. So this is one posture that's really good. If you get, if your lower body feels always like very heavy. Also, another thing that you can do is Vajrasana. Okay. So Vajrasana we practiced in the last class, where you bring your feet together, your ankles together, feet together, and then go into the posture. So now, those of you who want, if you've been doing the Veerasana for a while, go ahead and go into your Vajrasana. Okay. So for Vajrasana, you just come forward, and usually this posture is easy for most people. You don't need much support, but if it's not so easy for you, if your legs are not so flexible, place something under your feet, under your ankles, and then come into your Vajrasana. Yeah, and remember your ankles have to be together. Yeah, because they do have a tendency to separate when you sit down. Okay, alright, and come out. So these postures, provided you find your sweet spot, like the props that work for you, you can hold them for as long as you want. It's just that you should not be feeling like, okay, something is hurting and I just want to get out of the posture. So these are two postures that you could do on your bed also. You don't even need a mat. Now the postures that I really like are the seated forward folds, Shavasana and Bhajanasana, which are great. So the way I do them during when you want a restorative practice and also when you're menstruating is like this. I don't try to come all the way down. Okay, for Shavasana, you can take one leg forward, one leg back. And I don't try to come all the way down. If I had a chair, I would just rest my forehead on a chair. But you rest your forehead. Okay, it's important you cannot leave your forehead like this. You can, but it's not very restful, So, if you have like 3 bolsters, 4 bolsters, whatever height you have, you can use whatever height and then rest your forehead there. You don't even have to hold your feet. If you're unable to reach your feet, just use a belt. And you could wrap your belt around your foot and then just rest the forehead. It'll give you enough, like you think that, okay, my back is not stretching, but it does. It surprisingly does stretch, and you will feel like a nice kind of, a feeling of energy. You'll feel more energetic when you do this, when you do it in this way. Good. So Simi, you want to use a chair, you can use a chair also, like if you have it available. Yeah. And guys, don't worry even about bending your back. It's okay to bend your back when you're menstruating in this posture. Yeah, very nice. Okay, do it on the other side also. Understand the difference between a practice that supports your body and a practice that harms the body. Yeah, the same thing on the other side. Yeah, and these are just a few guidelines. You might have props lying around, you might have chairs, and when you need them, you can use those, and it'll really help. Okay, come on. Now Paschimottanasana in the same way, okay, except when you do Paschimottanasana when you're menstruating, you can keep your feet apart. And you can even take a huge height, like I can place this vertically and I can just do this also, okay. And believe it or not, you'll feel a stretch, especially if you have heavy periods, you'll feel a stretch. You're still coming forward. Your back is still straight, your mind is supported, your head is supported, and you're extending forward. So go ahead and practice it this way. whatever props you need, whatever props you have, take the legs apart, about hip width distance apart, and then you can come forward and rest the forehead. The key is to rest the forehead. And because you're using so many props, remember, the outer edges of your feet should come in, inner edges should go out. Yeah. Good. Okay, come up. So along with this, like what we did on Friday, where we rotated the leg out. Okay. Depending on what kind of practitioner you are, these are also something you can do. You could do this. You could rest your forehead, and you could do these postures also. Okay. If you're able to do it properly when you're not menstruating. When you're menstruating, I would suggest that you don't try to do new postures. Okay. But one posture that all of you guys are doing, which you can do, is like sit on a height. Go ahead and sit on a height. If you have a block or a pillow or a bolster, whatever you have, go ahead and sit on it. And your right leg will be in Veerasana, left leg straight forward, straight ahead. So here again, if you have your props, Mr. Rishi, do it on the other side. Yeah. Or if you want to do it on that side safely, if you're safe, then go ahead and do it on the right. Okay. If you don't feel comfortable, only then you do the left. Okay. So now here also, guys, this also I found to be really good for sometimes there's like dull throbbing pain, and you just whether it's in the front or in the back, it's just like you don't know what to do about it. So here also, take height. Okay, I'm taking this because even when I'm menstruating, this is enough height for me. Okay, I do feel rested, and then you can just extend the arms out. Note, I'm not reaching out with my arms because that makes it active. You just rest the arms. Okay, so you have a height, you have some height under your hips, you have something under your forehead, and you just relax your arms. You can use, you can just rest your arms on the floor also, that's fine. So really, like in your case then, what you would do is you would use a chair in front of you. To rest the forehead, you would use a chair. Yeah? Okay, guys, try it on the other side also. Show of hands if you have any questions. I won't take them now, but I'll take them if you have any questions. Yeah, Kiran, bring that knee into keep both knees slightly together, not wide, yeah, like that. Yeah. Yeah, Rennie, that's much better. Good. Okay, and come up. Come up. Okay, one more pose which is great is Bhajanasana. Okay, but now Bhajanasana is also, you're supposed to do it in a very restful way. If you are able to take the knees down completely, you do it that way. But if your knees are hovering in the air, then you need to support them with something. Okay, then you have to support them with something. It immediately makes a huge difference to the nervous system. When there's something under your legs, that's when you actually are resting the body. Okay, when you're menstruating, you're not trying to flap. It will always just be resting. Okay, all right. And if right now your legs are hovering up, try and place something under the legs and see the difference it makes. Place something under your thighs. Simi, bring the blocks further underneath. Yeah, so it's not just the knees which are resting, but like the thighs which rest. Yeah. And see the difference that makes. Okay, spending some time here. Now remove the support and just allow the legs to hang and see the difference that makes. There is so there has to be a lot of awareness to know the difference between like a bone, like here essentially your femur bones are hanging in the air, right? If you think about it, my femur bones start from are in the hip socket and they are hanging in the air when I'm like this. There has to be a lot of intellect in your entire body to know what is happening now versus what happens, how the femur bones and as a result of that, how these muscles would feel if all of a sudden there is support under them. If they're all of a sudden not hanging, okay, but like by the joint, not hanging by the joint, but resting on something. So you have to like, does anyone feel a difference right now? If you can raise your hands to tell me that there is a difference between supported Bhajanasana and unsupported. Okay, good. Yeah, so there is a huge difference, and I would also advise that even if you can go all the way down, but you have back pain and you have a lot of stiffness when you're menstruating, you still use support because it makes a huge difference to the nervous system also, supported versus unsupported. Okay, now one more thing is, I said we should not do any twists, right? But sometimes because the back tends to jam up, like you feel that everything is just, sometimes twists are great. Okay, so what twists can you do? One very safe one is you sit on a height, any height, okay, anything. You could use cushions or whatever, anything. And you sit in swastikasana or the sukhasana, and here then you twist just a little bit. You don't go to your full twist. You just twist a little bit, focus on lengthening the spine, okay, keeping your abdomen relaxed, and using your arms, essentially just your arms to kind of give yourself a little bit of a rotation, just a little bit. So if you were not menstruating, then my cues for you in this posture would be, push your knees down and lift up, and push your sitting bones down and lift up and keep your core engaged, and open the chest, roll the right shoulder back, bring the left shoulder forward. But when you're menstruating, all I say is you try to twist, keeping your back straight. Okay, so because you will know, like especially if you have heavy periods, you will know like how much you need to go, how much you can go safely, where it feels good to you. Good. Go ahead and do this on the other side as well. Good. Okay, and then come forward, and one more thing I would suggest is, see, look at how you've crossed your legs right now. This is the most comfortable way for you, for your body. Okay? Now switch the crossing of the legs. So whatever leg is on the top, take it below. Okay? And this is not the way your body normally twists. So but you need to be able to sit in both ways so that your hip is stable. Okay? So once you do it the other way, you're going to do it this way. You're going to switch the crossing of the legs and do the twist with both legs crossed in this way, with both crossings of the legs. So go ahead and twist in this way also, both sides. And then to the other side. And come back. Okay, now the last one will be like my favorite postures when I'm menstruating, because it really helps. But you have to be really careful with it, because you're not supposed to lift your legs up, but sometimes I do, simply because it helps the lower back. Okay, so the posture is basically Supta Padamushtasana. So where you lie down and you lift your legs up. So just watch. The thing that, and I'm putting this here deliberately, the higher the height, the better it is. So look, you're not supposed to lift your leg up, just watch once. This is usually not allowed, okay? But I have found that it really helps. It's usually not allowed. But if your practice is a strong practice, and if this is okay, like you feel okay, you can do this for 10-20 seconds. It will immediately give you relief from back pain. So this is not allowed, but what is allowed is this. Okay, this is like completely allowed. again releases a lot of the tension in the hip, in the groin, thighs, everywhere. Okay, so you can do this. So let's begin. We'll do both variations because unless you're menstruating, then you don't do the first one. So we'll start with the right leg first. Lie down with your knees bent. Use something under your head. So when you're menstruating, you use your maximum props. Yeah, and then you're going to take a belt, lift your right leg up, and then straighten your left. And it's important to do it step by step because again, you don't want to be harsh with your body. You are slowly and in a particular sequence, you're opening the muscles up. Good. Now you're going to hold the belt with the right hand and take this leg all the way down to the right side. Imagine you had a wall there. Imagine you have a chair over there or even a bolster, and you can rest your leg there. So as a result of that, the leg is not working. You are like passively stretching your body. Now go ahead and bring that leg up and release, and then take the left leg up, right leg on the floor. Yeah, once you have the left leg up comfortably, then you can extend the right leg out. And when you're menstruating, if you have really bad back pain, then you hold it for 10 seconds. Otherwise, you just go to the left side. Hold the belt with the left hand and then go all the way down and rest the leg somewhere. Again, there is a huge difference between being flexible and not resting. You will just not get that sense of rest, even if you're very flexible. If your leg is hanging in the air, doesn't matter how flexible you are, your body, your nervous system, your brain will still feel that it is not rested and it is not supported. Good. Bring your leg up. Release the belt. Okay. And now hug your right knee into the chest. Again, like a really nice thing to do to relax your lower body. And extend the left leg out. Don't worry about making it straight when you're menstruating. Yeah, like when you're menstruating, you do extend it out. But you don't worry so much about like rolling the thigh in and pushing the knee down. Good. Let's switch legs. Left leg comes in and right leg goes out. Good. And now hug both knees into the chest. Yeah. And then release and go into the Shavasana. When you're menstruating, you should do extra long Shavasana. Supported Shavasana. You could place something under your knees to make it restful, something under the head. But it is important to have that component of rest and meditation when you're menstruating. You can also do yoga nidra. Gently bring your awareness back into your own body. Start to move your fingers and your toes. Move your face from side to side. Turn to the right. With your left hand, bring yourself up to any comfortable seated meditative asana. Sit with your back straight, your shoulders relaxed, your eyes closed. Bring your hands together in the Namaskar Mudra. Start rubbing your hands together and place them on your closed eyelids. Rub your hands across your face and with a few blinks, open your eyes. Thank you. All right. If you have any questions, please stay on. If you don't have any questions, you're welcome to drop off.
Pragya?
Yes.
Okay. You know the posture where one leg is out, like this, and the other leg is in Veerasana.
Yes.
With this leg straight,
Sorry, your voice was breaking.
is this leg is it supposed to be sitting straight or is it supposed to be inside?
It's supposed to be sitting straight. Yeah.
That's hard for me.
Yes. See, because in the way you've done it right now, you have to take the lower leg, the calves, you have to take it out. You right now you're folding it in. You have to turn the lower leg out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any questions? All right. Okay, so I'll see you guys on Wednesday then. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.